What's going on, everybody? I'm known as Chaz, and these little guys are the Koss Porta-Pros, and these are the best sounding headphones you're gonna find that are 50 bucks. Chaz, didn't you have hair before? Yeah, I did, but let's roll it. I got sick of my hairline going back and getting all thin, so I said, screw it, let's get rid of it. I think it looks pretty good, so let me know what you think. But you're not here for that, right? You're here for these, and these are the Koss Porta-Pros. They're a pair of small, inexpensive, lightweight on-ear headphones. So I recently picked them up because I had a coworker who absolutely swore by them, and I needed something that was cheap, lightweight, and that would sound great for my Oculus Rift. Don't know if you know this, but the new Oculus Rift, the speaker's kind of terrible on them, so I needed something I could just slip underneath. And these seemed like a great option for that, and definitely worth taking a shot. For the price, I figured it wouldn't hurt, and boy, am I glad that I went ahead and took that chance. So what exactly do they have going for them? Well, right off the bat, the price. They normally run 35 bucks on Amazon, which is already a steal. But right now on drop.com, formerly Massdrop, they're 25 bucks for an upgraded version, which are similar to the pair that I have, that cost me 60. So 25 bucks, you can get a pair like these, and they come with a few upgrades over the standard $35 version. So kind of a no-brainer. Now, drop.com is not a sponsor. I don't have affiliate links yet. The drop version, it's got a couple upgrades over the standard version like I was talking about. It's got a more robust cable split. It's got an inline microphone for calls, and it's got this really sexy sort of midnight blue colorway. I honestly wish I would have known that these were right around the corner. Then I would have picked those up rather than these, with the silver and the black. Because one of the biggest cons of these is their looks. They don't look all that great, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. So the specs on these, for frequency response, we're looking at a range of 15 to 25,000 hertz. Normal human hearing is only in the range of 20 to 20,000 hertz, so these exceed that, all good. And in quite a small package too. They sport a 35 millimeter neodymium magnet driver, pretty standard stuff. Power-wise, these guys are 60 ohms, with a sound sensitivity of 101 decibels. Despite being 60 ohms, you really don't need anything to power these. You can just use your phone or your laptop, and these will sound just great with plenty of volume. So let's get into the build. So for the build, first off, we've got a super light headband that is more or less just a couple of pieces of bent aluminum that sort of slide over one another to adjust the size. They go nice and big. It's a simple design, but it works pretty well, and it helps to keep these things pretty light and pretty affordable. Other than that, the rest of the body is made out of sort of a durable plastic with foam covering the ear pads. There's also these additional foam pieces up where your temples are, and these just help add to that comfort a little bit and keep these off your face. So we're talking aluminum plastic foam, not the most premium of materials, but it all leads to these being incredibly light at just 60 grams, or a little over 2 ounces for those of us in countries that are too stubborn to get back on the metric system. And really, that lightweight, it really makes these one of the most comfortable pairs of headphones around. I've worn mine for hours on end with no fatigue at all. It's hard to beat these in terms of comfort. So I've just got to address the elephant in the room here though. These look like they're straight out of 1984, which they are. These look like you'd get them with a Sony Walkman. And yes, they are ugly. I definitely think so. I like to think of these almost as like the anti-Beats. Beats headphones, historically, they've been overpriced, uncomfortable, and pretty much sound like garbage, but they look great. I hear they sound a little bit better before you start harking on me in the comments. But the Koss Porta-Pros are basically the polar opposite. They're super comfy, they're affordable, they sound great, but God, are they ugly. That being said though, I'm definitely a function over form kind of person. So with that, I will take this quote unquote retro styling any day if it means they perform. Another con just to be aware of, it's kind of minor, but this metal band, if you adjust it while it's on your head, I noticed this when I had hair before I shaved it all off, but sometimes you can get hair caught in here and it'll tug and pull a little bit. Didn't happen to me too many times, but it's definitely something to be aware of. I think as long as you adjust it off your head and then put them on, you'll be just fine. Another potential con of these is that they are open back headphones. So if you're wearing them in public, just be aware that like some sound will leak out. So just know that before you start blasting your favorite guilty pleasures, just know that the guy sitting next to you is probably gonna find out and he's probably gonna judge you. Hey. Hey, what's up? Are you listening to Barbie Girl? No. No, it was Metallica, okay. Man. Metallica. Okay, man. All right, bye. So I would recommend these for personal use at home, or if you are on a train or a bus, keep it quieter. The most important question, Chaz, how do these things sound? They sound great, honestly. Considering the price, there's really not much more you could ask for. Any other headphone at this price, and even some much more expensive, they just sound tinny and thin and sort of lifeless. But these, on the other hand, they've got some real depth to them. They've got some life. They make music fun. On the high end, they're nice and crisp on their own. There's a nice roll off on things like cymbals and tambourines. You sort of hear the vibrations finish out after it's already been struck, which is nice. These headphones are a bit on the warmer side, so sometimes I do wish there was just a little bit more balance to sort of bring out those highs, maybe add a little bit of brightness at the top. But if you do like a warm sound, you'll be right at home with these. As for the mid-range, these are great. Sort of the upper end of the mid-range, female vocals, piano, those all sound great, but they still sort of suffered a little bit sometimes to that warmth that I was talking about. If there's lower notes happening at the same time, then sometimes those vocals or that piano sort of gets pushed to the background and really isn't the star of the show. Some songs that helps, some songs that hurts. But with that being said, I certainly enjoyed listening to a lot of tracks, sort of the poppier, that focus on, sort of female vocals or higher pitch tones within the mids, and absolutely in love. Now for a lower mid-range, male vocals, a lot of guitar, bass guitar, damn do they shine. These headphones absolutely kill it when it comes to things like rock, metal, R&B. Basically anything where you want an emphasized lower mid-range, these are amazing. Now when we get to talking about the low end, there's sort of a love-hate relationship there. At lower volumes, they do just what I like. They add a nice warmth to your music. But when you start cranking those up, the upper bass, it gets a little overbearing at times, and things can just become a little muddy and distracting. Lower bass though, it's great and present. Sometimes it seems like it's lacking, but again, I think that's just because sort of those upper lower range are more emphasized, and so as a result, it seems like that low bass is not present, but it's absolutely there, especially if you turn down the volume a little bit. Now, as far as imaging goes on these, they're kind of lackluster. They get the broad strokes right? Things that should be coming from the left do, things that should be coming from the right do. For example, in like the opening of Blink-182's What's My Age Again, you hear that guitar, it's coming from your right. And then a little bit later, the cymbals pick up, comes from the left, and you're like, okay, yeah, I feel like I'm there. So for just casual listening, the imaging's all right. It can handle things like that. However, when we get into more complicated songs with really detailed sound stages like Bubbles by Yoshi Harikawa, things get a little bit different. See, on a pair of higher end headphones, there's all these like balls and marbles that are sort of dropping, and you can hear them bounce. It's really an interesting song. I recommend you go take a listen. But with higher end headphones, I could absolutely point out like, oh, that marble came from that direction and it bounced over to right here. With these, it kind of gets lost in all that. You can just say, oh, that ball was over on the right, it was on the left, it was center, but you can't say it was coming from 30 degrees and worked its way back there to 180. Now, luckily, that song is probably the most extreme test of imaging out there, and it's not really a real-world representation of the kind of music you're probably going to be listening to. So I think for casual listening, imaging is just fine. Now, I know I harped a lot on sort of the upper bass and how the imaging wasn't perfect on these. And if I had it my way, I'd probably crank down that upper bass just a little bit. But then again, if I did that, then they'd probably be just like any other good pair of headphones, right? I think that's what makes them unique, and I think that's why I like them almost. At the end of the day, I can't help but love these things. The Porta-Pros sound signature is totally unique to everything else that I use on a regular basis. And when I'm not critically listening and trying to find things to pick out on these, they're just a really fun pair of headphones to use for casual listening. I found a lot of times when I'm wearing these, I couldn't help but like tap my foot or bob my head to the music. Are these the best sounding headphones that I have, or the best sounding headphones out there? Absolutely not. But for 25 bucks, I really can't expect them to be the absolute best. These give $100 headphones a run for their money each and every day, for sure. I really can't think of any reason why someone shouldn't own a pair of these. Even if you have an awesome sound setup and you have a great headphone amp and great headphones, for 25 bucks, these are fun just to have an experience. And if you're on a tight budget, then absolutely, if you're looking for quality at that price point, you really can't beat these. All right, guys. Well, links for these are going to be down in the description below as always. I'm hoping to get more videos out there. You may have noticed quality went up a little bit. I got my own space now and upgraded my camera and lighting. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that step up. If you did enjoy it, go ahead, leave a like. If you got questions, comments, go ahead, drop it down below, and I'll talk to you for sure. Till next time.